Today's stories include Banjo-Tooie returns, more trouble for the studio behind Tales of Kenzera Zhao, and a Michael Myers game that doesn't suck. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, October 18, 2024. Yesterday was Thursday, but it had Friday energy. So what is Friday going to bring, Greg Miller?
I don't know, because it feels weird. Yesterday did have that Friday energy, or maybe even like a weird Monday, Tuesday E3 energy.
Okay, yes.
So waking up today does not feel calibrated to a Friday.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like we're working on a Saturday morning all hanging out, especially people came in very lackadaisically today. Bless is on his way to New York Comic-Con.
So
Mike's
cool.
still fired. You know what I mean?
I
Nick,
still can't get over Bless being in New York Comic-Con with Tim Miller.
there's jet skiing right now in the Hudson, I heard.
Whoa. Things are getting wild out there.
Yeah, it's a wild and crazy
Jet skiing in the
kids, you know what I
Hudson.
mean?
How you doing, Greg?
I'm okay. You know,
Your dad?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's always great. It's more the fact that like my closest allies didn't really rally to my support last night with this whole Janina thing. You know what I mean?
Closest allies, yeah.
Because it caught me off guard on the show to be taken down so hard,
Of course.
and then to watch the clip about 100 times and just see you cackling like a fucking madman.
I mean,
You
it
know
was
what
very
Where
funny.
were you?
It was very funny. Almost as funny as the panic that you send through the community. The people that are concerned about you. That
I
feel
mean, it's
that
never
they
happened
saw
before.
how brutally
Has a Greg
attacked
joke
you
ever
were.
backfired before? Never.
Never.
You know what I mean?
Never
Unheard of.
until now.
I mean, here's the thing. Maybe a lot of people don't know what we're talking about. Do we need to watch it back?
I don't know.
Yeah,
if we need,
I think we should.
Don't know if we need to.
Hello?
Janina, it's Greg Miller. You're live on Twitch and YouTube and stuff. We wanted to call and congratulate you for Alan Wake 2, The Lake House. It's going to be great to play as you.
Greg, who are you with right now?
It's
Who's there?
Tim, Blessing, and Andy, and me.
Oh, hey, Tim.
Hi.
Hey, Blessing. Hey,
Hey.
Andy. Greg.
Yeah.
Never call me again.
But, okay.
Damn. It's unfortunate, man.
Look at that
I'm
face.
still excited for the game.
Stupid
Yeah.
face.
See, like, it was like the belly laugh from you.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
because
what
it
I
was
mean?
that funny.
It was
Glad
good.
you enjoyed it.
It
Yeah.
was good.
Oh, I'm going to watch that a lot this weekend. Remember, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy video game news that you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe, everybody. If you love what we do, support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Super Chats as we go. Remember, we are an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, after Games Daily, you're going to get a Kinda Funny GAMESCAST where we're going to answer Andy's question of when is it okay for capitalism to ruin games?
What I appreciate is you were out. You didn't see that. You weren't on that GamesCast because
Yeah.
it's our Life is Strange one. So
Okay.
you don't fully understand the concept, and
No.
we are going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw a Slack conversation going back and forth, and I was hosting, I was set to host this,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm down to just, go into this and see where it takes us, but
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening. So I slacked back, and I was just like, I'm unfamiliar with the impetus
Yeah.
of this situation.
Do you
So
want the pitch right
with
now?
someone with more
We're
context,
going to have to
get in
pitch
here.
it on
I had
GamesCast
to-
no matter what, but we have an audience here.
I had to Google how to spell impetus.
Wow.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've been journaling a lot in my review season or whatever, and it really is telling how much spell check has changed my life. Because like in the journal, I just don't give a shit. I'm like, I'll take a shot at it. Whatever. This is where it goes, I think. And then you look at it like, that ain't gonna work.
No.
Do you need the pitch for what's happening?
Yes.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen and NBs, you saw this GamesCast get pitched live in the air. We did our review of the first 2 episodes of Life is Strange Double Exposure. That's episode 1 and 2 because, of course, episode 1 and 2 dropped on Tuesday. And the rest of Life is Strange doesn't drop until the 28th, I believe. I'm kind of out here without a net, but it's a long time, right? This was the deluxe edition is the only way to get these. Like, either spend $80 or $100 or whatever it was. You get these 2 episodes. Otherwise, everybody has to wait, right? Obviously, when they announced this, it was their whole hullabaloo with the audience of that fucking sucks, spoilers, et cetera. And then when we reviewed it a day early, we were all like, this actually does really suck. There's a lot of things you would spoil in here. It's going to be hard not to have a conversation, blah, blah, blah. So this then escalated, and Andy had a great idea of like, in this context of paying to get 2 episodes this early, we should do a topic on the Gamescast that is, what is your favorite way capitalism ruins games? And
Your favorite way.
So what he means, of course, is like, what is your line that is acceptable and then what isn't?
Okay.
And so what I pivoted it to be is, remember an old Game Over Greggy show where you, me, Nick, and Colin sat there and were like, TV, movies, books, music. We put them all out there. Like, every one of us personally rank from most important to least important what it is. So I think we're going to do it today where we're going to come together and decide on, with the audience, we'll need your suggestions. What are the ways that capitalism has infected video games? And then we have to go pick 5 or whatever to be like, I'm okay with these 3, but then we get into the bottom 2 where I think this is egregious and yada, yada, yada.
I'm interested in this.
You should be.
I feel like it's going to be another context thing where I think case by case.
That's the whole point. Yeah, it's because there's 4 of us here. Oh, you mean?
Yeah. Well, we'll save this for the Gamescast. Okay. Good conversation there. I hope. Or else it's going to be a disaster and tank the company.
First off, if I haven't tanked the company yet with some of these fucking shows I put out, don't worry about this one. All right, I got you here.
We're going to do that right after
God forbid
this.
You can't talk about fucking Pokemon again. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, honestly, like the first thing of like capitalism ruining games, I think about Pokemon Go a lot.
Save it. This is what I'm talking about. This is a good show.
It's going to be a great show. And then the stream's going to be more Alien Isolation after that. If you're a Kind of Funny member, due to an editing bottleneck, you'll get 3 brand new Gregways today. All right, cool. 3 Gregways. What a deal.
I've been saying it's been cool, Greg. They just haven't been going up, it turns out, because he's been so busy. So today, 3 Gregways are going up.
3 Gregways, everybody.
Time
and then,
capsules.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twiney and Carl Jacobs. Today, we're brought to you by New World Eternum, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Oh, yeah. Story number 1, Banjo-Tooie coming to Nintendo Switch Online. You know what? Fuck it. Let's watch the trailer.
In Super Chats, what else needs to come to Nintendo Switch Online now that Banjo-Tooie is here?
I want to watch this trailer because it brings me happiness.
Have you watched it?
I did.
I watched it sound down, so here we are. Now we're living it.
Well, you need the sound. Okay. Grant Kirkhope, bring in the jams, as always. That's a banjo, Greg.
Oh, where's the
character?
kazoo?
In widescreen mode. You'll love to see it. This is what gets me excited. The good stuff.
You gonna play this? You gonna play through this?
I mean, infamously, I've never played through the Banjo games.
Wow.
I don't think I...
Hate Nash Hater.
So yeah, I'm not going to jump into Tooie, you know?
Yeah.
One day I will do Banjo-Kazooie, and I owe it to myself. Isn't that right, Barrett?
Barrett's got too many knobs and switches going in there. He can't answer you.
Did you play Banjo?
No. When they did Nuts and Bolts, I was at IGN, so I played a bit of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saved myself for the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Evan Campbell at GameSpot says this. Another game from an Xbox Series is headed to Nintendo Switch Online, plus expansion pack later this month. The Nintendo 64 title Banjo-Tooie will arrive for premium subscribers on October 25th, joining 3 other Rare-developed games on the service, GoldenEye 007, Banjo-Kazooie, and Blast Corps. On YouTube, Nintendo shared a trailer, seen below, that we just watched for Banjo-Tooie coming. The sequel starred a bear-bird duo landing on the subscription service almost 3 years after Banjo-Kazooie launched on the Nintendo Switch Online. I saw that Andre from Game Explained tweeted out that Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie came out closer together than these games were released on Nintendo Switch Online. Both of the classic Nintendo 64 platforming games that Sea of Thieves studio Rare created while Nintendo owned a minority stake in the company. However, in 2002, Microsoft acquired the developer. We know all this stuff, etc., etc. The expansion pack membership costs $50 annually for individuals, while the family plan is $80 per year. This begs the question, what's left for Switch Online? So yeah, let us know if there's something you're looking for in the super chats, if there's possibly anything left. I think that there might be nothing. There might not actually be a single game that anybody's looking forward to coming to the Nintendo Switch Online.
Oh, Barrett's getting big. What's up, Barrett? Oh, he wants Donkey Kong something.
He wants Donkey Kong 64.
Where is it?
Hey, you're going to have to wait 3 more years. 3 more years. Because it would be the next one, right?
They own it. It'd be so easy. They put it up on Wii U.
Wii U. May it never die. This is the only way that a Wii U is still being played, is though Barrett can find a way to play Donkey Kong 64 legally.
That's how we did Donktober a few years back.
Never forget.
Never forget. It is Donktober right now. We'll never leave.
Yeah, and we still haven't gotten Blessing and Andy to play Tropical Freeze, and it makes me very upset.
Oh, man. So good. This is interesting for stupid reasons. I mean, first off, I love that it is the widescreen version. I'm pretty sure that first made its debut in the Rare Replay collection when they put that over on the 360. 360? Xbox One? I'm not sure. I think it was Xbox One.
Yeah.
So we're running out of games to put onto any of the Nintendo Switch things. This being the expansion pack. Is that just our all N64 games expansion pack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
so
our whole thing,
cool.
yeah.
That makes sense there. But yeah, there's Donkey Kong 64. There are a handful of titles that we are still waiting for that we expect might actually make it. But what's interesting to me is last week there was that big Nintendo Switch Online secret test going on.
Yes.
And I imagine this is not that.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
What is that though? That's
I don't know, man.
That's the big question.
You're the guy who should know more about that, of what you thought it was. We pitched our ideas here.
Yeah.
The hope of a return of Street Pass.
Yeah.
Miiverse.
Miiverse, I think, is the most likely of the options. I also don't think it's that likely. I was talking to Roger about this a couple days ago. I feel like, the rumors circulating are big talk about GameCube being added to NSO, DS being added to NSO, Miiverse, some version of Street Pass, some combination of those things, an achievement system being retroactively added to older games, whether they're on NSO or just Nintendo in general, something prepping for their Switch 2 plans. I think the important thing to remember is that all those things are very unlikely.
Yes.
Because it's Nintendo.
Yes.
I would say the most likely thing would be a new take on a 99, like a Tetris 99, F-Zero 99.
My pitch at the time had been in-game voice chat, but then when it was called out that it was, or on-system voice chat, I should say, but then it was called out that it's like 2.2 gigs or something, whatever you needed for free space. I was like, that seems like a lot for what you
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, the amount of space it's taken. Also, like, we're going to know what this is soon enough. Like, people are going to not pay attention to that NDA, and we'll know all. But it's interesting because I understand the argument that we'll never see GameCube on NSO because those games are still so ripe for remaking, and we're even seeing that. Like, Metroid Prime Remastered came out not too long ago. Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door just came out. That got a full remake. I personally don't think that that's going to be true forever. Like, the further we get away from the GameCube's 2001 launch, like those games are retro, and I feel like that same argument could have been made just a few years back for N64 when they were releasing those games on the 3DS with Star Fox 64 and Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, even Mario 64 on the DS. But now we have all those games on the NSO now, at least the majority of them, and then we have they still are remaking those games to some extent, and they or putting them out again, like the Mario 3D All-Stars collection had Mario 64 in it, even though you can get that on Nintendo Switch Online anyways. Although, can we just talk about that for a second?
Let's talk about it.
It's been a couple years since we brought up how fucking bizarre it is that Nintendo put out a collection of Mario games, and then we're just like, you know what? We're going to take it off. We're going to delist it in a couple months, and they let us know that. What the fuck why?
Nintendo loves fake scarcity. They just love
totally
phoning it and making it seem like it's a thing. They're very much Disney in the fucking vault.
But are they? This is the only example.
I feel like
back in the day with their systems too. Remember when they weren't making stuff? I forget which one, but there was an infamous one, not the Wii, which was a runaway success they didn't expect. I forget what the other one was, where there's forced scarcity for it, where they didn't make enough.
But there's also Amiibo for the longest time. Like,
sure.
There's a false scarcity there. But then I think maybe it was a test run for them in like the actual game space of like, hey, let's try an old school Disney thing, a thing that we've tried with physical stuff in the past. Let's do this like anniversary all-star collection and have it be like in this specific time capsule to see how well it does. And if it doesn't do well, maybe we don't do that again. If it does,
it did really well though. That's the thing and we haven't seen it happen again. And the game's not back. All that stuff surprises me. And there are examples of it, like people bringing up. They did it for Fire Emblem, like the original Fire Emblem, when they brought that back as like a fun little anniversary surprise. That's nothing. And they did it for the Mario 35 and
they
things
want your
like
money
that.
now.
That's
right?
good though.
They got financial
that
quarters.
To me makes sense because those games need the community and need like that active player base. So like putting this experience is only going to last from here to here. I think that's a very smart Nintendo way to handle live service games.
But you're saying games and merchandise should just be available forever.
merchandise, the amiibo thing, I think that's different. Like those things being collectibles, and also there has to be some limit, or else we're just gonna have the same amiibo on store shelves for ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you can even go there now, and it's like there's so many Princess Peaches. You know what I mean? Because all the people that want it already got it.
Yeah.
But a collection of Mario Galaxy, like being the only way to play that game legally, you can't do it anymore. But it's possible if you have the cartridge or download it at the time. That's weird as shit. Very weird. Very weird.
It is very
They were
weird.
making money from it. But
And they were making money from it. I don't like when people take things off of these stores when they could be making money from it. Barrett, go to kindafunny.com/store. Now, Tim, I just might be a small town kind of funny lawyer, but what are you trying to fucking pull with these limited merch drops, huh? Have you thought about that?
me?
Yeah, you, Mr. Nintendo. I'm
Yeah.
starting to connect the lines over here, all right? Here, look at
Drop's
this.
coming soon.
Kindafunny.com/store. Drop coming soon. Huh.
Huh.
Mr. Nintendo over here hates what Nintendo does.
I've lost.
Runs his own business just like Nintendo. This is the same, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs of the jury. This is the same thing as taking Mario Galaxy offline. You could
Guilty!
just leave. Thank you very much, the juror.
We've never made anything close to the quality of Mario Galaxy. But yeah, the Mario example alone is, I think, weird. But I also think it's an example of like that we will see GameCube games on NSO at some point.
You think so?
I do.
I hope so.
I
don't think it
it's
disqualifies
fine.
it, right? The remake thing I understand, but it doesn't disqualify it because so many GameCube games would not get the remake. And even if you did double dipping on a remake you put out there.
Yeah. It's very interesting to think about like when it might happen and how it might happen. And seeing things like the widescreen support. Like I am very hopeful that one day we get like Smash Brothers Melee, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we do get a remake of that to some extent, like a standalone SKU of them re-releasing that game. But I don't think we'll ever get like Mario Kart Double Dash remake. So that's like a perfect example of a game that we will see at some point on NSO, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think that that's what this test is for.
No, not at all.
And so now we have GB, we have GBA, we still have the DS. At some point, we'll get to 3DS. I do think we'll get to all those things. And the important thing to point out is Nintendo Switch Online is, for the first time ever in a way that actually matters, going to continue from Switch 1 to Switch 2. Like the service
Have they
is going to
confirmed that?
Well, no, but like it's going to.
WNDs?
It's going to. 100%
Weird
it's
Nintendo
going
decisions.
to. If like there's just no way that they fuck up that bad. Because
I want to believe.
they haven't had a success like this ever. There's no way they fumble this.
Okay.
I firmly believe that with every decision that they've made in the last 5 years, WNDs included, like the overall trajectory of Nintendo during the Switch era has been making the right decisions for the success of their business and for gamers to be happy. So there might be one weird thing here, weird thing there, but at the end of the day, the level of output of quality titles, of generational games that they're putting out, I don't see that ending anytime soon. I think that's going to continue straight through. I mean, through the end of the Switch's life. Like, how many goddamn Horsemen have we had, Greg? We've had like 12.
There's more than 4 for sure.
More than 4. And I think that they're going to like march us right into that beautiful Switch 2 launch, you know?
Do you think that, one of the conversations we were having when we were talking about this giant update test case, yada, 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 was what if they're trying, there was a conversation with whoever's co-hosting with me, and I apologize for not remembering, their belief that the Nintendo Switch would get a like interface redesign to match that of the Switch 2. So that there would be ubiquity between Switch and Switch 2. This not necessarily that that's what this test is. I'm more interested with your Nintendo expertise if you believe that. What happened to your coffee over there? What just happened?
The top's on weird and it would have spilled everywhere and it would have been very embarrassing for me. I don't think the Switch 2's UI is going to be dramatically different. Like, again, like we just gotta like
Can I have
look at
themes?
this.
I want themes. Can I have folders?
Yeah, I think that those things are maybes. I don't think they're guarantees.
I'll take it.
I
Andy
really
over?
feel like all signs point to Nintendo just continuing their success. Like I don't think they're gonna rock the boat. I don't think the Switch 2 is
But
gonna
they're
have.
Nintendo, man. They get crazy.
I know, but like they don't though anymore. Like they found what works. They found what works in
You're right.
every
It's not
way.
like they just launched an alarm clock, everybody.
And every time we talk shit, they end up winning. Like, and again, not every time, but like many times when they try something weird, it ends up working. So it's like I feel like when it comes to their core consoles and their core games, like less worried than I've
You
ever
believe.
been. And like I believe leading into the Switch launch, but a lot of that was just because I am a Nintendo guy and I suffered through the Wii and then the Wii U. And even the Wii U had amazing games, as we all know, because now everyone played them when they came to the Switch. But I feel like with where we're going into the Switch 2, like just looking at all the teams that we don't even know what they've been working on for the last, like what has the Mario Kart team been working on since Mario Kart port and then ARMS and then the DLC that they put out that was significantly lower effort than the core Mario Kart 8 Deluxe project that they were working on. Like what have they been doing? Something big, I'm sure.
Yeah, making
Mario team and so many other teams we just don't know, and we're about to find out soon. And I feel like all that's just going to continue the success of the Switch. And because of that, I don't see them. I think the UI of the Switch 2 and the matching the UI of the Switch would make sense. I think that they're going to try to treat these things as generationally as possible. And I think that that's the smartest call that you could possibly make.
I hope so, yeah.
When you look around and everyone else is putting out $700 PS5 Pros and just like more, but then fucking laying everybody off and like not being able to put out their first party games because they're way too goddamn big. Meanwhile, Nintendo's putting out first party games left and right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Definitely took many tangents there, but
that's what the conversation.
This NSO
Games
thing
Daily is.
I'm very interested in because I do feel like the WNDs that are exciting because only Nintendo thinks this way. Who knows what this test is? It could be something that none of us see coming, or it could be something that's smart, which I do think Miiverse coming back in 2024 with some type of achievement system tied to that, tied to your Mii, could be very cool. I think it's probably too cool for what Nintendo wants to do. But going back to my argument that Nintendo's been making the right calls for building an ecosystem that their gamers care about, those are the type of things that make more sense now than they did on the Wii U.
This is a weird question, I guess, but when you look at the Switch 2 and you think about where Nintendo's going, do you think they're going to take online more seriously? This is another conversation we were having in that episode with Andy where he was like, oh, gamer tags. I'm like, I'm not going to do gamer tags. They're going to stick with the friend code. They're going to, which I think makes a disjointed thing, but also a more intimate thing where my Switch friends are the 18 people. I see Grub, I see Cisco, I see you when I go on there. This goes back to what we were talking about with like, Miiverse or a Wii Plaza that's more of an online, or a Mii Plaza thing that's more online, right? I'd love to see you guys walk in and say what you've been playing or how many hours you put into Animal Crossing or something, your latest game you just bought. Like, I think that could be cool.
Yeah, I think yes and no. I think that they will, just because the state of things needing that and games just inherently being more online, even Nintendo games. But I don't think it'll ever match what PlayStation or Xbox does. But I do think that it will be a core part of the Nintendo experience because it has been for a while. It's just not what we expect or not what we want. It's been getting significantly better, but definitely is not ideal. But then when you look at the online, the Nintendo Switch Online NSO offerings of the expansion packs of the consoles, like we're at a point now that sure, it's embarrassing that Donkey Kong 64 is not there yet, and it's frustrating, but we're at a point this many years into this that most games are there, and they're just there forever. Like, they haven't taken games off of the Nintendo Switch Online library that I know of, and I don't think that they're going to. At some point, sure, maybe there'll be a shakeup, but again, this goes back to what I truly believe, that they have found their success, and they're going to keep building off of this, and that's why I do think we're going to get GameCube. We're going to get DS. It's just going to be a matter of time.
Okay.
But it could be that would be an incredibly exciting announcement for them to make. I just don't think they need to beta test that stuff.
How quick do you think we hear about whatever this beta is? Like, I mean, not the leak part of even. I'm sorry, not even the leak part of it. Like, you think once they do this thing, are they going to talk about it right away, or is this something is it timed with the Switch announcement and they're doing that, or? Yeah,
maybe. I mean, again, I'm still holding out hope that we're going to hear about the Switch in the next 2 weeks. Like, we heard about the Switch 1 in this time frame. So if they're planning to have the Switch 2 come out sometime between March and June of next year, which I still firmly believe they're going to, they're going to announce it soon. When that is, I don't know, but I'm very excited.
Okay.
We do have a couple super chats here. Tavin Bothell says, Tim, you should definitely give the Banjo games a try. Me and my crew over at Two Penny Games just reviewed the first one for our video game book club, and we enjoyed it quite a bit. Hasn't aged too much. I'm sure I'm going to love it one day when I actually get into it. But that's awesome. You did the book club. David Eisler says, hell yes. Day before my birthday, give us Donkey Kong 64, you cowards. CJ Splits On says, we're missing Quest 64 and GOTG, Guardians of the Galaxy. GOTG. What is that? An N64 game. GOTG. I feel like there's a Game Showdown game somewhere here.
Sure.
They give you just the...
Yeah, you just give you the acronym.
Yeah.
Like you have to put together.
Game of the Generation. Oh, Quest 64, Game of the Generation is what they're saying. Okay.
I want all my
Dash-
wrestling games. Figure it out. I know they never will, but it'd be cool if they did.
Volk Dasher says they need to add trophies, imaginary Nintendo pins, like animated 3D enamel pins, etc., as an equivalent to trophies, just like Nintendo World Championships. Why are you shaking your head, Barrett?
I feel like trophies break the minds of gamers. Exhibit A, Greg Miller. And
I'm better than ever. What do you mean?
Well, that's because you focus less and less on trophies.
No,
the last
when
few
I was
years.
in it. When I was in it.
You
wouldn't have had that ZJ the Ball coverage without me. You wouldn't have Platty Bird coverage without me.
Let's not forget about ZJ the Ball.
Let's not forget about it.
And then, for games like in-game stuff, it definitely... I see it both ways, Tim.
Yeah.
It feels like an inherently non-Nintendo move.
See, I am on the other side. I think it's an incredibly Nintendo move, but they already just do it just game to game, and I wish that they would just take a step further and have a system, because I feel like Nintendo games, I mean, I say this from experience, so many of them are designed to make you want to 100% them and want to do all the things that the game offers.
So why do we need a system that, like, I don't know, do you think that would actually enhance like that need, or do you think that those games are actually designed to encourage you to do that?
It would make me want to play more games on the Switch as opposed to on other systems. Like, I tend to want to play a game on PlayStation that's third party that I could play somewhere else. Just like if it's a game that's like a lower power needed game, and I am debating between the PlayStation and the Switch, like I'll go PlayStation because of the trophies. And it's just like that's
something else to do.
Yeah, it's just something else. And like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo with the Miiverse and with all the kind of community stuff, like that stuff just adds, especially if they had some fun pins or did something that like added cool shit. And also them coming up with the challenge, I think Nintendo would care more than a lot of the other developers out there that we have problems where the trophy lists kind of suck. I feel like Nintendo trophy list would be sick. Alex Konecki says, what's your Starbucks order? It's just iced coffee. Black. David Flores says,
in there?
No sweetener.
Yeah.
No. David Flores says, I can't wait for GameCube ports. I need Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness. I also need some Wii games like Mad World and The Last Story. A man of taste, David Flores out here. Appreciate that. And Kurt Flowers says, the Cruising games, USA and World weren't the best games, but I love them anyways. Damn, I'm surprised they're not there. Because Cruising USA is one of those like synonymous N64 games. But it's not there. Sad. Cruising Exotica, Greg.
I remember Cruising.
Enough about all that. We're going to get to story number 2 after a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by New World Eternum. New World Eternum is a thrilling action RPG experience for console and PC players with a vibrant world, vast and beautiful setting, dynamic real-time action combat, and the freedom for players to choose how to forge their destiny. Combat is skill-based and dynamic, incorporating swords, guns, and sorcery so that you can build one character to rule them all as you explore Eternum and unravel the mysteries of the supernatural island that you can't leave. You love playing RPGs alone? You can in New World Eternum, or play cooperatively with your friends as you complete quests, get better gear, and level up. Greg played this at Summer Game Fest on PlayStation 5 and was caught off guard by how much he enjoyed it and how many hours he said he could see himself sinking into the final product. There's boss fights, cool enemies, crossplay, resource gathering, and crafting. So yeah, this sounds like a Greg game. New World Eternum is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Story number 2. Tales of Kenzera Zhao Studio puts developers on redundancy notice and seeks funding. This comes from Surgent Studios Twitter.
Boo.
We decided to put the work of the Surgent Games division on hiatus while we secure funding for our next project. In the meantime, we've unfortunately had to put our team on notice for redundancy. Everyone at Surgent worked incredibly hard to create Tales of Kenzera Zhao, a game that truly comes from the heart. Their passion, creativity, and dedication are nothing short of extraordinary. There are still a couple of exciting updates coming down the pipeline for Zao, but for now, we have a message. Our team has created a prototype for a bold new project. It's darker, edgier, and more visceral than our first game, but it retains all Zao's high-octane combat and cultural depth, and we're looking for a partner. Help us bring our vision to life. surgentstudios.com/contact. Such a freaking bummer, right?
100%. Yeah.
I'm going to give a little bit more context here. A redundancy notice is written communication from an employer to an employee who's being made redundant. The notice informs the employee of their termination date, reason for the redundancy, and other details. Reb from IGN has more context, saying, despite the game's positive reception, Surgent Studios has had a rocky year. The studio and its members have been the victim of a growing campaign of ongoing targeted harassment since Tales of Kenzera Zao's release, to the point where Salim addressed the wave of hatred in a public message back in May. And earlier this year, Surgent laid off just over a dozen developers, citing a difficult time in the games industry. These cuts come as a part of a wider trend in layoffs sweeping the industry as project funding dries up, leading to over 13,000 individuals laid off just this year.
Bummer.
It is, man.
You know, this is sadly a story I don't think that gets reported on as much. You remember when I came back from DICE, one of the things I kept telling you in February was that so many people were there like, yo, the money's dried up. Like, people are not financing games the way they were before. And I think if you even go back to yesterday's conversation with Gary on this very show, Games Daily, we were talking about, of course, survive till 25 being the Hollywood mantra, but also seeing that in games, right, of where people are and people being a bit more choosy, if choosing at all, with their pocketbooks right now for these companies. And I think, again, the DICE conversations were the small independent studios that were going to publisher A, publisher B, publisher Y, and trying to get the usual deals they've gotten before, whether in the past it was a Game Pass thing or a PlayStation Plus thing or just a marketing deal or a publishing deal, and they're not having the exact same bottom lines for that.
Yeah.
And so I think for Surgent here and Tales of Kenzera having such headlines behind it for the year, the game being quality, obviously, Abu being awesome and making the rounds as he has many a time on many different shows, ours and everybody else's. Like, this is a example of a game that's gotten some of the limelight for that, right? And now you see it struggling with the same things like so many independent studios that are in the lurch right now. The games that aren't in early access or are still in that, or aren't even being, or aren't out yet, are being post-release or really worked on, right? You're talking about stuff now that's that pre-production, we have a build we are taking to people to try to get funding to finish the game, right? And I think you have a lot of different developers having this exact same conversation, but not having the audience that Tales does or, Surgent does.
Yeah, we talk obviously a lot about these layoff stories and how unfortunate they are, and it sucks that this continues to happen, and the number of people laid off just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger over the last couple of years. But we also talk a lot about new studios kind of forming and trying new IP and new ideas and wanting to see that work. Yeah. And, we bring up a lot of the different groups that have had people leave other teams to form new teams, and then just the level of success or lack of success that we've kind of seen from that so far with things like Callisto Protocol. And just it seems like struggling other companies out there that have maybe made an announcement years ago and we have went silent since, right?
Yep.
With Surgent Studios here, like they really had something special of being able to announce this game at Game Awards and be able to present it on that stage the way that they did, where it's like all eyes on this, having Abu tell such an amazing story. And I feel like immediately get people to care about a game that was being announced for the first time. Like that, everything lined up for this to be a success, right?
Yeah.
For this indie game that is being published by EA, to be presented by Jeff Keighley the way that it was, with this story that grabs you, right? Mm-hmm. The game's good. Game comes out. It's like well priced, and it's still not enough for it to hit. You know what I mean? Like that's so sad that like even when you get everything right, like it's not enough for
there's no guarantees.
This story to, yeah, exactly.
There's no guarantees in gaming, right? Like you figure like, and what you're talking about here is this RNG role for this real life event, right? Where you get every possible thing you'd want on a piece of paper, right? With Keighley, like you're talking about with EA backing you, et cetera, et cetera. And it's still not enough to guarantee you get a second game. Like instead you have to furlough for a while, layoffs, now go into this redundancy reporting, but still be like, we are still, we have a vision. Come contact us if you want to be a part of that, right? This is an open call to publishers who are looking to finance games.
Totally.
which you don't see a lot of. Usually this is the thing that's happening behind closed doors at SGF, at DICE, at Game Awards. These are the conversations that lead to a meeting, lead to a call, that lead to talking to someone on a team at Xbox, at PlayStation, at EA again, right?
And, we, again, cover these stories so often, but it is more rare that we're covering a story that Abu is like to different degrees friend of ours, and like I really respect him, and I've gotten to know him pretty well over the last couple months, and the conversations and the topics of conversation that we have that show how much he cares about the industry and how much he cares about video games and how much he cares about connecting with people and telling stories.
Yeah.
Like this is it just hurts a little bit more because it's close to home,
Sure.
And to know that somebody cares this much and is trying this hard and willing to do things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, and like put out a message like this, and like to be very clear, hey, we have an idea for another game, we're working on it, but we need help, essentially. Like, I hope that turns into a trend of a new level of transparency among developers, and maybe opens up a new like line of conversation to publishers and a new way of thinking, so that these stories aren't as frequent and instead are success stories, But
yeah, I mean,
a lot of hope there.
There's a lot of hope wrapped up in that. And so, the immediate hope would be maybe Surgent Abu doesn't have the contacts at Devolver and Annapurna, et cetera, as you go on down the list of people to get those, and maybe that gets here. But then the other sad, scary part would be that they do have those contacts. Those people have all passed on the project because of their own pocketbooks, bottom lines, whatever. And it is that you're getting to a point where fewer of the games like this are going to get funded.
Yep.
Which then comes at Tim. Call them right now. Get a number. What if we make the game? We finance the game. How much do you think we Patreon it? You know what I mean? We do that. We'll figure that
out. Story number 3, a review roundup double feature. We got some reviews for Unknown 9 Awakening. This is Greg's fever dream game.
This is the one that I bring up throughout shows since SGF, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never heard of this game. I'm like, oh no, this is a game from Bandai Namco that has an entire fucking fictional multiverse behind it, right? Where it's this game, but it's also a podcast, and it's a comic book, and it's a novel, and they have other stuff coming down, and everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, it's got the woman from The Witcher in it, and people are like, oh, maybe I've seen this. Like, this is a game that I talk about a lot. This is a game I talked about on Tuesday's Kind of Funny Games Daily with the one and only Jason Schreier, when we reported that Bandai Namco begins to cut headcount after culling game titles, and I was like, Jason was like, I can't believe after Shadow of the Erd Tree that they would need to do this. I'm like, well, don't forget, they're making Unknown 9. And Jason's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
Why are you putting money into these weird AA games that are going, like, that aren't, whatever. Go on, read the article, we'll talk about it.
The Steam description is, you are Haruna, Quaestor. Get the fuck out of here, man. Born with the ability to venture into a mysterious dimension, the Fold. On her quest to powerful hidden knowledge, she must learn to master the power of the Fold to fight a secret society with a hostile agenda. It's a 63 on Metacritic right now. Travis Northup at IGN gave it a 5 out of 10. Unknown 9 Awakening is the kind of routine action-adventure game that probably wouldn't blow me away, even if it was executed well, and the fact that it isn't just makes the whole thing fall completely flat. Everything from the formulaic story to the shallow and dull combat and stealth are well below the standard set by genre peers, and the consistently disheveled performance and bugs don't do Awakening any favors. There's at least some fun to be had in its interesting reality-bending powers, especially the mind-controlling abilities that let you briefly play as your foes and sabotage the enemy in clever ways. But these bright spots run their course quickly, leaving us with a wholly underwhelming adventure. Jenny Jones is a little more positive at Push Square with a 7 out of 10. Unknown 9 Awakening is a good debut from a first-time development team. This narrative-driven action-adventure has some rough edges, but the beautiful locations, intriguing narrative, and well-written characters make it hard to put down. The gameplay doesn't evolve much, but the entertaining stealth mechanics add a lot of variety to the skirmishes you find yourself in. Overall, it's a compelling new IP with lots of potential for future adventures. And then Oscar Taylor Kent at Games Radar gave it a 2.5. Games Radar Plus.
Thank you.
With a 2.5 out of 5 stars. The Unknown 9 world's clearly ambitious, but after hitting credits, I can't say I have much interest in further following its narrative universe. Rather than deploying an almost overwhelming amount of mixed media projects at once, I'd have rather seen Unknown 9 Awakening honed to the point where it could truly create fans from its own merits. Instead, it just feels like Unknown 9 puts the gas before the airship. Greg, you played some at Summer Game Fest.
That's right.
Are you going to play any at launch?
No, I did.
Oh, you already did.
No, yeah. So
Wow.
at SGF, I had a hands-off demo, if memory serves, deep into the game, and it was running on a PC, so it was running super well, but it also looked AA, which is fine. We always talk about there needs to be more AA mid-tier games here, right? And I was like, okay, this seems like a Greggy kind of game in terms of action-adventure, third-person. We're trying to tell a narrative. You have these weird powers that look a lot like Banishers, looks a lot like Forspoken. These are not games that did extremely well, so they're not great comparisons or whatever. When popped up for review code, I was like, yeah, sure, give me a review code. And I spent about 20 minutes on it, and then I stopped it, deleted it from the hard drive, where I was like, this ain't doing it. This isn't where this before reviews, obviously. I was like, this is not going to review well. This is not going to. There's so many games to play right now. The next set of games we're about to talk about, I've had as well, and I haven't had time to play with. That it's like you got to be judicious. And I jumped in, and it wasn't running well on PlayStation 5. It didn't look good. I thought it was a weird way to toss me right into the story, and I just wasn't intrigued after 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm out of here now. So it stacks up. I'm way more with the negative reviews you're seeing here, where I didn't see anything compelling to even drag me out. Now, granted, that's a first taste, but I think also having seen a way deeper demo where the powers are going to go and what you're going to do, even that didn't look like the combat's awesome and I need to be doing this and da-da-da. There's so many great things to play right now that I was like, sadly, this is going to be a miss.
Yeah, dang, that's unfortunate. But great things like, Greg. Retro Realms, getting a review roundup here. The Steam description is as follows. The Retro Realms Arcade connects select Retro Realms games with other titles in the series that you own to unlock new access and abilities and create the ultimate mashup of horror legends.
So the idea here as you go, right, is that what they're doing here, this is Way Forward, who we're big fans of here, but they're making this game called Retro Realms, which, as you just saw, will have arcade cabinets in it. So you're going to have multiple games you can pick and choose which to buy, and then you go into the launcher. It's very much like our Assassin's Creed launcher that'll be here any day.
Yes, Assassin's Creed Infinity.
Exactly.
Very
You
much.
go into Retro Realms Infinity, I'll call it, and you can pick Ash the Evil Dead, you can pick Jason. But today they've launched both. I'm sorry, Halloween. Halloween and Ash the Evil Dead are the ones that launched this week.
Yeah, we I think it was me and Bless reacted to this trailer when they first dropped it a couple months ago, and I am just so stoked for this. Very excited. I totally forgot about it, and here it is, and it's getting good reviews. Mark Delaney at GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10, saying Retro Realms' first two cabinets arrive in style with excellent platforming gameplay, an authentic 90s vibe, and an interesting first-person 3D wrapper of a hub world that reminds you the game isn't just mechanically tight, it's also horror-obsessed. Boss Team and WayForward proved to be compelling tandems with this game, and given this team's intentions to build out its arcade with additional famous and sometimes masked faces, I'm hopeful Retro Realms can go the way of the slasher series and get several sequels of its own. Aaron Boehm at Bloody Disgusting gave it a 3 out of 5. Halloween and Evil Dead have been featured in games in the past few years. Both of them are in Dead by Daylight, and Evil Dead has its own asymmetrical multiplayer game. But the Retro Realms releases do a great job justifying their existence as love letters to the franchises. Even though their stories revolve around a new antagonist, the nostalgia evoked by returning to iconic locations is strong here. While I sometimes felt like I was running into irritating difficulty spikes, I had a good time revisiting these franchises in a gorgeous 16-bit pixel art form. There's a lot of potential in the Retro Realms platform, and I hope the future games under this umbrella can continue their reverent recreations while being a bit more of an even experience. And then Tyler Treese at Yahoo gave it an 8.5, saying developer WayForward has put together yet another charming and challenging platformer, this time with a classic horror theme. Retro Realms is a real treat for fans of Evil Dead and Halloween, as these are fun to play through regularly and even more fun to mix and match the scenarios. Laurie Strode going up against Deadites, why not? This is the type of horror fun that can only be achieved in gaming, and I'm fully for it. I want to play this tonight.
Yeah.
I want to play Halloween. I don't have any attachment to Evil Dead.
See, that was my thing. I got review code for this as horror movie goofball. I was excited to get to it. I've just been so busy and there's so much to play that I'm the same boat where I love Halloween. I've never been an Evil Dead guy. So it was like, I'm interested to see how this evolves over the next few years, you hope, right? Of what other games are they going to bring in? What other horror franchise they're going to do? The crossover stuff's nice or whatever, but like, I'm looking for a horror franchise to bring me even more and do something more with it. Because even Mike Myers, like, I like Michael Myers enough, but he's not like my guy. You know what I mean? And I know Friday the 13th is super complicated with rights, so that won't happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of other people, as we've seen through Dead by Daylight. Chucky could be fun.
I just love the idea of just these retro platformers, like new games being made in that style. I just think, obviously brings you back to those licensed games of that era.
Yeah,
they were so fun, but like being made by Way Forward gives me so much more faith that like they're going to feel tight, they're going to feel right.
Yep.
And also the love for the franchises, like obviously platformers from the 16-bit era, like music is such a big part of that. Halloween theme song is amazing. I can't wait to hear it in video game form. Going up against all the different bosses and them just having fun with it. Like this just seems like a dream project, and I'm happy that it seems to be like hitting the way it needs to.
Hell yeah.
I'm very excited for it. Barrett?
Question for you, Tim, because you know one Kevin Coelho very well. Are either of these franchises his jam?
No.
Okay.
I think he's cool with the Evil Dead.
Okay.
But like, I don't think that's a Kevin thing. And
Okay.
yeah, Halloween. I could
he
name like
loves-
5 people that I would be like, oh, they're Halloween guys before Kevin.
Okay. I was thinking about requesting a code for him, but I wasn't entirely sure.
I mean, I could see him vibing with it because I think he likes this type of game enough.
Yeah.
But also, I wouldn't say he's a platform guy either.
Yeah.
But
See, that's my
Yeah.
other thing is that I love the horror movies, but I'm not a big
Yeah,
platformer
I'm
guy.
such a platformer
I want to
guy,
try,
man.
and that's so. Here's a question for you then, and I know I'm asking you to speak on something you haven't played yet. Does the $25 price point surprise you? Because it's $25 for each cabinet.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
look,
I when I was like, oh, it's Retro Realms, $25. I was like, oh, it's actually so. I'm now. It went from I'm expecting these to be fun platformers to like, oh, I'm expecting these to be $25 level platformers each time.
yeah, and I mean, it's way forward. So I expect it to
Shantae.
be worth it, right? Like that's $25. Sure, is a bit steep. But I'm also not shocked, and I also think that like, look, these projects cost money.
I'm not arguing that they
And I think that like when you put that much love in licensing and all that
That's
stuff,
a big
it's like,
part of it, I'm sure.
It's like that shit adds up. So yeah, $25 is. Let me put it this way: $25 is the all right. I'm just gonna get Halloween.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like if it was a little cheaper, maybe I would just be like, I'll get both
Yeah.
because like I just want to support this or whatever. And maybe I play it through Halloween, then I'm like, oh, I want to buy the other
Yeah.
one, But anyway, I'm very excited to get my hands on this. I hope that it plays as good as it looks. Moving on, story number 4. It's a big one. Just there's a lot of words. Call of Duty 20.
It's 5 paragraphs.
Well, just look at that. That's a lot of words.
You want me to take it?
No.
You tired? You tongue tired?
No. Call of Duty 2025 reportedly a Black Ops 2 sequel set around 2030. This comes from Wesley Inpool at IGN. The Call of Duty series looks to take players back to the future in 2025 with Ops 2 set in the early 2030s. Fans were alerted to leaked information about next year's unannounced Call of Duty game after details allegedly revealed in a focus group meeting hit social media. Some of these details were then corroborated by Insider Gaming. Activision declined to comment when contacted by IGN. While 2024's Black Ops 6 is set in the 90s to the backdrop of the Gulf War, 2025's Black Ops game reportedly shoots forward to the 2030s, picking up where 2012's Black Ops 2 set in 2025 left off. I hate that sentence. It reportedly continues the Black Ops storyline from that point with David Mason from Black Ops 2. Everyone's favorite.
He's
David
no
Mason.
Soap McTavish.
He's no Soap McTavish. Mechanics from Black Ops 6 said to return include the new body shield and Omni movement with some tweaks such as human shields with grenades stuck to them that can be thrown at enemies. Wow.
Why not?
And wall jumping. Zombie mode, meanwhile, said to introduce an 8-player mode. Perhaps unsurprising, Infinity Ward's reportedly hard at work on the next Modern Warfare game, presumably Modern Warfare 4. Perhaps that's due out in 2026.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is what I thought I'd put in there for the Call of Duty folks who
Yeah.
follow and want to keep track.
I'm
of
sure
this.
Mike is more excited about this or like would have something to say, but I don't even know. Is this exciting? A Black Ops 2 sequel?
I
The
don't
2012 Black Ops?
know. I don't know.
It's
We're not.
coming
We're not. We're
2030?
not the. We're not the 3 guys for that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Mike just like
I've
going
played
shooty
it. I
shoot.
could
You know.
not tell you what the fuck happened in that story for Black Ops 2. Black Ops 1 fucking kicked ass, but
We got some no's, we got some yeses, we got a fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah from Jason
fuck
Drones.
yeah,
So-
dude.
Jason Drones ready to fucking throw down on this.
And then story number 5, the biggest news of the day. You can bend your knees in Sea of Thieves. That
There's a
rhymes.
video. There's a
Little
video of
context
it.
from GameSpot. Season 14 for Sea of Thieves is
Show the video.
officially called Making Mischief. On top of crouching, Rare highlights the free updates editions of disguises, a grapple gun, and a blowpipe with darts in a YouTube video. The new season went live yesterday, October 17th.
Look at this.
I saw this on Twitter today, this clip here,
Yeah.
and I was like, huh, interesting.
Bam. Did it. He crouched. The
I
knees work.
really appreciate games that have such deep communities that care about weird things, and then when they get rewarded with the moment like this, it's like it's just fun.
Good for
It's just
them.
the fun side of
I'm glad they're
video
having
games.
fun
I
over
don't
there.
understand why this is a big deal, but I'm sure this is a very big deal to the people.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think they did a bunch of. I mean, it's a long requested feature.
Yeah,
I think they're making a big deal out of being fun stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate
Good
it.
for them.
I
Yeah.
hear there's
Sea
a
of
lot
Thieves.
of places that you had to crouch into, and they just couldn't get into them for years.
Oh, really?
No. That'd be awesome, though, if there was just
Like,
like
it was
a
designed
little
to have
hole
a
in the wall.
crouch
There's like
Yeah.
this golden
Have it.
treasure chest everyone wants to get to, and they just can't get to it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would be a big deal. A really, really big deal. But, Greg, if I wanted to know about small things, the smallest news I could possibly want to know about, where would I look?
You'd go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Retro Realms is now available on PlayStation and Xbox consoles, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. The first two games in the series, John Carpenter's Halloween and Ash vs. Evil Dead, let players experience these iconic horror franchises in an all-new, old-school way.
Sorry, I put that in there before I realized I did the review roundup.
I want to give more shout-outs to it, though. IGN deal. Lenovo is offering a great deal on Xbox controllers, now priced at just $40 with the promo code FALLXbox at checkout. This discount applies to Astral Purple, Electric Volt, and Standard Carbon Black models, bringing the price down from $65. Meanwhile, GameSpot has Amazon deals on the see-through Xbox controllers for $60, and those things are sexy. All of them. So sexy.
It's a problem how good Xbox controllers look.
Yeah, it
how
is.
many? I mean, I have that white one that they sent, the see-through glacier,
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is, the ghost.
pretty.
It's
Real
amazing.
pretty.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then at home, I'm using the pink one that I made, or no, that I bought. The blue one that I made.
I also love that they now are just having so many different Elite controllers. They're just like, you can custom make the
Yeah,
Elites.
100%.
Also, like, we're gonna put out variants of the Elites. The only problem at this point with the Elites, why can we not customize the grips, the handles? They always have to be that like black rubber.
Sure.
And it's like we're so close to perfection with this thing. Shout out to y'all for trying, though. That's it for Wii News. Let's go to You're Wrong. Let's see what we got wrong.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Fuck them, Tim. Fuck them.
Yeah. Banjo-Tooie says, you're wrong for the Banjo-Tooie article. Tim read, they said there are only 3 games from Rare on the service, Banjo 1, GoldenEye, and Blast Corps. However, Jet Force Gemini and Perfect Dark are on the service already. Perfect Dark is on the mature version, though. That is true.
Do you think we get Conquer at all?
It's all you did. We think we get cock. It's funny.
I mean, yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they're
At this
doing
point-
if they have like the M for I forget, Conquer's got to be rated M, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. If they already have the M for mature tab, I don't know how many games are under that, and I do find it weird that we haven't gotten more. So I feel like that's got to be one of the go-tos.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Let me just Google this. M-rated Nintendo 64 games. Here's a list of all of them. Oh, whoa.
What?
28.
Whoa.
28 games. Biofreaks. Don't know that.
Biofreak.
Carmageddon 2. Okay, that was, during the big car combat craze.
Yep, never forget.
Conker's Bad Fur Day. Doom 64. Duke Nukem 64. Duke Nukem 0 Hour.
Nukem.
ECW Hardcore Revolution.
Whoa.
Don't hold out hopes. You're not getting that.
Did you like that one?
No, that was when Acclaim picked it up. I bought it and I played it. I took the day off work, but no, that was like, when WWE made the jump to being with THQ and AKI and all that stuff, the games you think of, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy. Acclaim needed a wrestling game now, so they picked up ECW, and it was that thing where this is like, they were doing it where every move was a combo. So you had to memorize
Street
the
Fighter
Stone Cold
shit.
Stunner and all that stuff, and that was not the way to do it. The game had changed, as they say.
Forsaken, which I remember seeing the box at Blockbuster. Hexen Beyond Heretic. Daikatana. Mace the Dark Age. Mortal Kombat 4. Mortal Kombat Mythologies. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Nightmare Creatures. Perfect Dark. Quake 1 and 2. Resident Evil 2. Shadow Man. Remember Shadow Man?
No.
I remember Shadow Man. South Park Rally. South Park Chef's Love Shack. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Turok 2 Seeds of Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Turok 3 Shadow of Oblivion. We just don't name games the same anymore.
We don't.
We got to go back to a simpler time. Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
The Dinosaur
Like,
Hunter.
I wouldn't have marked those as M for mature. I'm surprised.
It's a lot of fog.
We had the Cerebral Boar. Remember that?
No.
Turok? Oh,
I
the
never
Cerebral
played
Boar
it.
was a weapon you had in multiplayer, maybe in the real. I only ever played multiplayer, right? Where it was like you shot a ball out and it would burrow into somebody's head, the other person's head, and it was like, "Wee!" Like it was
Whoa.
fucking shit, man. That kept you awake at night.
Turok Rage Wars. And then War Gods. That's
Race
wild.
Wars is a little too close to Race Wars.
I know, yeah. I don't like that. Interesting. Very interesting. Were you a big N64 guy? I forget.
Me?
Multiplayer. I know
Yeah,
you did
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. That was my first Nintendo console in line with what was popular. Well, I guess the Game Boy, but whatever. I'm
Yeah,
saying my
okay.
first home console where it was like, I remember I made the bad choice of getting a Saturn over N64.
Yes, okay.
Then went to high school, and then of course Mike O'Brien, Jason, they had N64. So when we started hanging out, and I was going over there. That's when you're playing GoldenEye, WCW, NWO, Revenge. Right? I went and got it. Then I had all that, and then all the wrestling games and Smash Brothers and everything else. Yeah, that was Friday and Saturday nights. You were at Mike O'Brien's house in the basement playing wrestling games and Smash.
Did you ever have a PS1?
Oh yeah.
When that come into play?
I bought the PS1 as a last ditch fuck you to Nintendo when N64 was dying. Right, there was I was just holding. I'm going somewhere with it. Stick with me, babe. N64 was dying. I was holding on for WWF No Mercy and Conker's Bad Fur Day. Got No Mercy, and you've heard the story. I know, so I'll summarize quickly. Got No Mercy, and remember the first run of cartridges had a glitch where they'd eventually erase all your data. And so I did it I think I did it 4 times of going back to EB Games. Shout out to the Stratford Square Mall, rest in peace. And switching out, and it kept happening. On the final time, I walked in there with the N64, and I was like, I don't care, Conker's Bad Fur Day enough. And I said, I'm trading all this in, and I'm buying a PlayStation. I bought the PlayStation, and I bought I bought the PlayStation and I bought SmackDown 1 because it was already out. And then SmackDown 2 was pretty much imminent. And the PlayStation 2 was also pretty imminent at that point.
Yeah.
And that was, my full switch. That was my Joker moment to switch me over to being a PlayStation person.
Yeah.
Because I'd gone from being a Sega kid. I was like, I'll be Nintendo. I was like, I can't fucking deal with this.
No, yeah, not the best time for
Yeah.
that. It's crazy to think about, like the N64's like dying days. They were dire. It was bad.
Yeah.
And like to compare the Switch's dying days now, it doesn't feel like it's dying at all. Like that's crazy. Nintendo turned it around, y'all. I'm so happy for them. Switch 2, imminent. Give it to me next week, Mr. Nintendo, please.
As you know, I don't know much about what I'm talking about ever. And so did we get you wronged on Cerebral Bore? Because I went to find footage and I found it in Turok 2. I still want to send it. I'm just gonna throw it in assets there so you can see this weapon because it was fucking gnarly. But was it in Turok 1 as well, or am I just putting it over there? I don't know.
We need a Turok aficionado.
According to Defiant Minds, it's in Turok 2, which we're not debating because we have video proof of that. Okay, thank you there. The 3x2 says I think only in 2.
Dino.
Look at that.
Oh my
See?
god. Oh
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
yeah, that's rated M.
Yeah, that was the fucking shit right there.
Wow.
That's fucking wild.
Okay.
God, look.
Oh, and it still walks around a little bit. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
The way
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 games control, like first-person shooters control, is just so fucking
don't
funny.
like
Oh,
this
should we
here.
watch this
Why
again?
It was a recommended video. Yeah. Oh no, I can't
to
stop
the lake
it.
house.
Oh, no,
It's gonna be great to
shit.
play as you.
Greg, who are you with right now?
It's
Who's there?
Tim, Blessing, and Andy, and me.
Oh, hey, Tim.
Hi.
Hey, Blessing. Hey,
Hey.
Andy. Greg.
Yeah.
Never call me again.
But okay. Oh.
We're about to have a riveting episode of the Kind of Funny Games cast, and after that, we're going to play some Alien Isolation. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.